getting rid of the happy music. There is only inquisitive music.
Water dripping.
There's only water
There's
dripping.
only pain in this household.
Alright, so... I forgot to write a recap. But that's fine. We'll do it from memory. We'll do it live. So previously on Dungeons and Dragons, on D&D, so we collected Mouse. She's badly hurt, but took us picking her up. Checked out this interesting little shrine, temple, court, question mark, something else. Notice that there's a lot of water here. Entered into the first room. There's some urns and pots around. And noticed a little babbling stream heading off to the east. While the crew investigated the stone slab to the north that acted as, that was barring her entry, Xalia headed off to the east after Chuman kind of like peeked around and then returned to the group. Xalia spider climbed her way over to this large chamber, finally able to pick their way through the puzzle. And by picking their way through the puzzle, I mean picking through the muck of whatever was in the urns. A small little pearl keystone was found. The squad put it into the stone slab, or no sooner did they hear Xalia shriek out in pain and help as she was beset upon by some sort of crystal shard creature. And rushing to her aid, Pastiche cleverly warping her out of danger's way. A short battle was performed, or was conducted with a creature known as a lampad that Makayla relayed. These creatures known for kind of like guiding and watching over and ferrying lost souls through the underworld and Shadowfell and that sort of thing. It seemed to bless you. Seemed to have control, at least somewhat, over some sort of construct in the middle that it set upon you. And after it retreated and gathering everyone, we checked out the northernmost room, where we found an exciting bird statue where everyone took turns inserting an extremity into the bird's beak, and in return receiving an item that seems to hold some sort of importance for each member of the party. Zoaz, who had taken a moment to catch his breath, feeling a bit waterlogged from being trapped inside of a watery sphere, along with Twig. Everyone, including Mouse and
Quotes
Coco.
beloved character, trigonometry.
Huh? Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
I kind of slurred it, but I said Twig. Twig.
Trigonometry. But yeah.
So, as all eyes on you, what would you like to do?
Had Zoaz stuck an extremity down the bird's beak.
No. You are recently recovered from steadying yourself, and you are currently towards the entrance. You have watched each person kind of remove and extract an item.
Zoaz will sort of cough a bit, and recovering still from having been in his watery jail. Say, well, I suppose I should follow suit. And slowly walks over to stick an arm down a bird's throat.
Okay. So as you roll up your soggy sleeves and stick your forearm down here, feel around, wonder what the whole deal is, when suddenly, clamp! Something clamps around your forearm, preventing you from moving it. It's holding you fast, and you can tell me out of character, or you can DM it to me. What is the most important thing to Zoaz, Ituusk? Throughout your journey of the people you know, here, near, and far, and there, as the your connections from this world and other. What is the most important thing to Zoaz?
Let's see.
With his other hand, Zoaz checks his notes.
Sorry. There. I DM'd you.
Okay.
Or here.
Okay.
If not the specific, then I think the idea still carries over.
Yeah. So, weaving through your claws, Zoaz, through your fingertips, you can feel a certain object. You're not quite sure what it is, but your time in Hollandis, and your handling of such items, kind of certifies that this is definitely one of the protected items of the nation that you herald from. And it's thrust into your palm. You close your hand around it, and the clamp is released, and you bring back your claw and take a look at it, and behind you can hear snickering.
I'm sorry.
As Xalia is looking around through this magnifying glass that she got, then bringing your attention back to yourself, Zoaz. In your hand is a circular pendant of sorts. It's got 2 chains on the top, and it is a curious little thing. It is just a bit of jewelry. It features a large moon, and inlaid is a sun. It's made from silver and another metal that you're not quite immediately familiar with. But the sun and moon, they're kind of like, they're obviously separable, but as you're handling it and kind of using both hands, you find out that you can separate and reattach them. They're fastened by some sort of magnetic force. In each piece is an eye that watches from several kind of dashes of silver. It's certainly a masterpiece that even Merchant King Zonrune Bulgiro would covet. On the reverse side is a compass. Functions. The sun's portion kind of holds the dial that points the way, while the moon serves as a guiding track that allows the dial to spin.
Oh, okay.
And in your inventory, at the top of your loot section, you can find your thing.
Zoaz kind of softly gasps, and then will I think he'll don this new piece of jewelry. Wear it around his neck.
Makayla would I guess sort of softly say to you, Zoaz. I'm somewhat surprised that, or perhaps, sorry, I'm getting pinged on Discord. It's annoying. I wasn't sure you would get something, being such a devotee to Selene and all. But
Though I am devoted to my lady, I do have my own aspirations and things I find important, I suppose. And he just sort of looks down at it and sighs.
This was a very curious totem.
Bailey is going to be trying to look at other people's things with her magnifying glass and seeing what happens. Like specifically the items they got.
I mean, Makayla's just holding her match, a lit flame, in one of her hand that's not holding the staff. So yeah, you'd be able to do it.
They are magnified.
Whoa.
How does it change?
The horns on the top of the magnifying glass, of the looking glass, they don't really change too much. They'll get curlier, spin a bit. Well, not really spin. Like they'll get curlier, they'll recede, and then kind of like go into a spiral. Seems that each one of these items causes the horns to do something else. They don't shift into anything else, but it does cause the horns to go kind of haywire.
Okay.
Well, I won't ask you what all your items are to you, but I can only assume they are incredibly important. Shouldn't... As incredible as this was not our purpose for being here. I think we should save thinking deeper about what these are and why we have them, perhaps for a later time.
Zoaz will nod and say, "Yes, I believe we have still yet to find our target down here."
Twig will sigh and carefully put the rose away in his backpack, and then nod and say that he agrees.
How long have we would have been in this room exactly? Like in, the specific chamber.
Not terribly long, but it wasn't a quick thing either. Perhaps not less than 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but between 10 and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Then we should get moving because we need to find out what's beyond this area down here, especially after that fight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was out of character. I need to clarify that because, like, no.
Yeah. We still don't know what is truly down here and what Feather and whoever else is working with them is after. Or where Feather is, for that matter.
It could be possible that creature or human that we just fought could be related to Feather.
Perhaps, but seems unlikely. What? Sorry. What do I? That a character? I mean, I've seen those kind of creatures before, right?
The lampad?
What, yeah, the lampad.
Yeah.
They're more just sort of like monsters. They're not really.
They're,
Like-
they are monstrous and unsettling, certainly.
I guess like they're normally. Would I know if they're just like normally just found in caves or like in ruins and stuff, or
No, you know them because
so like folklore or something?
Because it's folklore from the Nashir tribe, and then Xalia would
Okay.
know of them because she's read about them.
Got it.
They guard the more shadowed paths of the world,
Right.
and they usually kind of just move along spirits, and they
Okay.
reclaim wayward souls.
Cool. Okay. Alright, then I would say it would be more likely that Feather would have come into conflict with that creature rather than strike any accord with it. Though it could be possible, like the creatures we fought when we rescued the young Orion, that were summoned by some sort of piece of whatever piece of technology that she has. We don't know. That's could be a possibility.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Makayla turns towards the towards the stairs. Indeed. Right. Sort of start going that way. Though we must be careful about walking on water. We no longer know where that creature is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of it.
Mitch the owl kind of like flaps and floops and like hoots and comes to rest on Pastiche's shoulder, kind of just perching on them. Toka harumphs and exits the bird shrine room, much to Mouse's protest. Hey, let me know. I want to do the. No, we don't have time. And let's see here. So yeah, everybody
Mouse.
heads on down.
Yes.
So this section, the stairs. now that you're not fighting for your life anymore, the stairs, you're able to get a good proper view of this place. The stairs descend into a chamber that is partially flooded with muddy water. There's these ancient stone walls that function as dividers for this room. They're lined with many niches that hold roughly humanoid shapes in tattered linens. More than one of these grim parcels float freely in the stagnant water. The water is 2 feet high, so making the entire area difficult to move in. So you just kind of slow going. As you move around, you can see that there is a large stone slab to the east and another to the south that stands askew. Probably age and water flow must have compromised that one. But yeah, each of these little niches holds a peculiar thing. The ones that Zoaz didn't blast apart with sacred light, that is. What would you like to do?
Would Twig be able to see from here what this is on the opposite side of the room? Is it like a doorway or
Yeah.
like a stone slab?
As Toka, carrying Mouse, carrying a torch, wade into the water and start moving around, their mouths, or Mouse's mouth, kind of agape and all. The dim light of the torch sheds that this is a large stone slab. It looks like a door indeed. It's certainly
Okay.
covering something. You can see kind of some stairs beneath the water's surface. And there's also an exit to the south, just in case that was also missed.
I was going to see, can I see something in there? Because I can, like, partially peek through.
Yeah, you've got dark vision that goes for miles.
Uh-huh.
You can see that there's something in the south as well. And the way to the east is barred.
Can I see something of interest that's, like, peeking through?
Okay, make a...
I'm not all the way in, so I can only see, like, this angle.
Make a... There's no light in there, so it's dim light. Make a perception check with disadvantage. Remember, you can hit
yeah, that's
intuitive
right.
perception on your feature list. So we'll add a d4 to that one. So that's 13 and 4, and then add again, or do the intuitive perception for another roll because it's at disadvantage. Because you're looking through dim light.
I need to go to my character sheet for that, or...
Yeah, go to your character sheet, and then under the features tab, and then you should have two new features. Two new active abilities. One is intuitive perception and intuitive survival.
Okay, I see it.
Whoops, did I? Oh. And then I realized I made a mistake on that roll modifier, so it's 1d4 instead of just straight 4. But that's fine, we'll keep it. Okay, so a 9. You can certainly see, something going on in there, Chuman. There appears to be, like, you can make out just faint different grays. You can see something that looks like a stone hand holding a stone blade, and you can see some sort of picture thing on the wall, but you're not able to make out much more than that.
Okay.
As Mouse being held by Toka is kind of like poking at one of the things, one of the humanoid creatures that just attacked you. It doesn't seem like they're fighting us anymore.
Twig calls out, "Please be careful with those."
Mouse just kind of waves.
Pretty sure they only came alive from that creature beforehand.
Pastiche is
Anyway.
gonna wade into the water and take a close look at the one she's poking at.
Okay. Please investigate.
Meanwhile, Chuman speaks up to the rest of the party. It seems that there may be a statue to the south, although I can't see it clearly from here.
Alright. Pastiche, as you get up next to Mouse and Toka, and she's just kind of like poking at him. you also poke, and it seems like each of these, huh?
Said naturally.
Yeah, naturally. Each of these linen-wrapped creatures, each of them have, like, and of course you're like looking at the rest of them. They are donning a Piscine, looks something like a funerary mask. You've had to paint one for someone's solemn mourning once before. It's made from gold. It's long tarnished. Touching them, it's curious. It doesn't feel like there's a humanoid's body in there. In here, it feels hollow in some areas and extremely sturdy in other places. And that's it. Cool fish mask. I guess also in your research of having to do that painting, you would also, you know, what's a funerary mask? You would have found out that they actually cost a lot to make. So these could be worth something if you find someone interested. But aside from that, like looking around, the bodies, bodies is a question mark, of course. The bodies, they bear no grave goods or anything else like that. So it looks like they have just these.
Okay.
Oh, and then also, music changes.
Oh boy, music change.
Oh, a neat song.
Ooh.
I feel like I remember what game this is, but then I don't.
Yeah, it's this game.
Yeah, it's from this
Right
game.
now.
It's from Khorzaire, The Curse of Life.
Yeah.
You telling me there's music that's been playing in my head the entire time?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Zoaz, hearing Chuman talk or mention something to the south, will start walking over.
And Chuman backs up, accompanies with Zoaz.
Yes, I do see something. Suppose we shall check it out? Investigate?
It's fine by me.
Forgive me if I do not feel comfortable going on my own, because... I mean, you are here to witness.
No worries.
Best that we do not split up, I believe.
As you wade through the water, Mouse instantly splits up, and she looks at Pastiche, kind of shrugs, and then is distracted by the next shiny and interesting thing in her view, which is not shiny at all, and she goes over to the stone slab that is barring the exit. Toka, take me over there. She's just kind of like kicking as Toka holds her above the water.
Xalia is, as the light is on, she's gonna go wander up to try to see what she was dragging earlier.
What you were dragging earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. It's easy enough to locate the spot where you were, and in that spot, dragging is another one of these linen-wrapped humanoid creature object things. It also has a Piscine funerary mask.
Okay.
Seems like you were dragging one along.
Sorry. Was what? Sorry?
It seems like you were
Sneeze.
dragging one along. Oh, the whole thing? Or...
No, I just sneezed. Sorry, and then you stopped.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's just another one of these linen-wrapped creatures, objects, something, that has this little Piscine, little fish-looking funerary mask.
Okay.
Looks like you were just dragging one of these along with you. Okay. And then...
Could sorry, go ahead.
No, you first.
Could Twig take a look at the room to the south and see if there's any suspicious ripple, bubbling, or clues that he might get like trapped in a giant bubble?
Well, you certainly can. However, despite the map having a really cool movie floaty effect, it is pitch dark in there. You'll need to have a sort of a form of light.
I think my lantern would still be active.
Okay. My
It was
apologies
from a few sessions ago. It was from a few sessions ago, so it might not be.
Okay, my apologies then. Your lantern is still active.
Okay.
So yeah, Twig, as you hear the mouse kind of, or her voice kind of like fade towards your left as you are facing south, and the water movement of the people around you. You hoist up your lantern, raise the hood over it, and yeah, you can peek in. There is this area looks like it was once blocked off, but judging by how the stone slab that is functioning as a door, it's kind of like half fallen open, and like half of it is covered in water, and it's just laying askew in the rocks and liquid. So the way to the south is open. You're peering around. Make a perception check, please.
Perception.
Cool. You're peering around with the help of your lantern, and you can, before like fully entering, you can see that much of the ceiling in this chamber has collapsed into this room. This room has sort of like algae tinged water that's partially filling it. It's still very deep, about 2 feet high, but you can see that it seems shrine-like. It's been destroyed by erosion. Let's see. Seeing underwater from your current position would be difficult, but you can see that there's something that's breaking up the shadows that are cast by your lantern. Then the rest of the light kind of reflects off. But you can see that there is something under the water. And kind of like going from side to side on the entryway, you can see that there is a mural of sorts on the eastern wall. And then on the far southwestern part is more collapse.
Okay.
Zoaz kind of gives a cursory glance around and then is going to start wading in.
Okay. You're wading in. Yeah, let me get rid of this. Door's open. Don't need an icon that you can accidentally close. Okay. So who's going in after Zoaz?
Xalia is not going to be adventurous at all. She's just staying behind the group now.
Twig will be following behind Zoaz.
Okay.
Pastiche is going to be at a distance, making a point to stay behind Xalia.
Alrighty.
Ow.
We'll put you something here.
Whoa.
Zero trust that she's learned her lesson, huh? She hasn't.
Yeah.
Alright.
Before we head in, Twig's just gonna give a shout to Toka, like saying which way we're going.
Sure. Mouse seems infatuated with this rock. And then you hear, it's so cool! It's a door!
Be careful, the area isn't cleared. Makayla would kind of yell over to them.
I suppose with Toka there, they will be fine.
Do you think you could punch open that door?
He has a few more drones.
And Zoaz will, after remarking, will continue into the room.
Okay. So as everyone enters in here, and you're able to maneuver in with Twig's lantern light, you are able to see that there. Let's see here. Hang on, I got mixed up. So yeah, as you enter into this this kind of like algae-tinged water of this southern room, upon entering, you notice that the entrance is flanked by alcoves, and in there stand, one in each, twin giant-sized statues of a regal-looking figure wearing a furred-rimmed cape draped over a thick body. The face is angular and determined, and it seems to be in something of a pose. You can in the center you can see an altar that is fully underwater. Its trappings have been ruined by earth and time. To the east looks like a mural with a couple pots next to it, and let's see here. So yeah, and then the southwest is just more collapse. So that's the cursory glance of the room.
The statues, are they like of human person or like are human proportions?
Yeah. As you step in a little bit more and get up in front of the statue and look at it, you can see that they mirror each other. The face is angular and determined. There's like a circlet of banded stars around their head. And then the statues, they're carved holding a stone sword in one hand and another hand reaching out as if to accept or offer a gift. The statues kind of like, they're submerged in water from their ankle, so you're unable to see like the dais or anything like that.
Is Zoaz able to see what's sort of in this spot here?
Yeah, that is the underwater altar.
Ah, okay. For some reason, I interpreted the underwater altar as this.
That is the eastern mural.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
And this is, well, Zoaz is going to start. He notices that the cave sort of gives way, and it looks almost like a path. So he's going to start walking over to investigate here.
Okay. So as you go and head over to that alcove, it is just yet another alcove. It looks like wherever this may have gone once before is now just collapsed into rubble.
Zoaz just sort of lets out a turns around and shakes his head.
Would Twig recognize anything about like who or what the statues on the east and west are depicting?
Yeah, you make a history or religion check, your choice.
History or religion?
In fact, anybody that would like to do that can, as you see Twig kind of gazing up and peeking at this.
Scratching his head.
Scratching his head. Anybody that would also like to think about this may.
Oh, please.
I see how it is. Okay.
Xalia.
Okay. So, Twig, there, as you're gazing up at this, there doesn't seem to be anything immediately, or anything you are immediately knowledgeable about. But, Twig, as you spend more seconds looking at this, the statue that looks somewhat like a, someone of royalty, but also of battle-hardened determination, there creeps into your mind something of a familiarity, but it's something of like a nagging familiarity, but you're unable to place it, and it's a wonder why. Makayla, Zoaz, Chuman, and Xalia. Well, minus Xalia. Makayla, Zoaz, and Chuman. You all notice Twig looking up, and with this confounded expression on his face. And then you also follow his gaze and spend a few seconds looking at this, trying to decide what has Twig so entranced. And before you stands something of a figure of Khorzaire legend. This is a depiction of a figure that you haven't heard much about for quite some time. This is a depiction of the God Emperor Wenceslas. And then Xalia, you're able to kind of piece together your studies, and also from your previous adventure, you might have something of a first-hand knowledge about who this figure is, and you're able to see them finally in a non-emaciated, non-wraith-like form. This is a depiction as if this legendary royalty figure is something more down to earth.
Clarify, this would be the final boss from last time? Just before undeading? Okay, cool.
The final boss from last time, from Xalia's past adventure, was just like was a general in sort of like something of a shadow group trying to revive him.
Okay.
But you saw like plenty of murals of, say, like the Ember Knight combating God Emperor Wenceslas.
Alright.
And that's what you see.
Xalia will kind of have a less than comfortable expression at this.
Remind
Back
me
away a little bit.
what the general like feeling about Wenceslas was in Khorzaire. Like, was he a bad thing?
I don't think you've interacted with anybody about them, but
Sure, but
yeah, but
Zoaz is
Zoaz, you're a particularly devout sort of person. Go ahead and roll. Well, you don't have to roll anything. This is kind of easy. It's kind of like at this point, it's just something of a legend, something of a boogeyman's not quite the word, but it is like just myths of the past.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Khorzaire perspective, it would be told as this legendary figure who like nobody was ever able to prove existed,
Okay.
was the central topic of why Cyril is the way it is today. There is this
Okay.
huge civil war that broke out in starting in Cyril, and everyone had departed after that. And the legends say that it was from a huge power vacuum of God King Wenceslas's exit. But for Zoaz, that's kind of like where the story ends. And like because of their exit, the huge civil war broke out, and then now Cyril's the way it is.
Got it.
Oh shit. Okay. I just made like a lore connection based on things I know from character backstory stuff, so that's gonna be fun.
Zoaz will sort of walk over and say, "Is that Wenceslas?"
While people are observing these statues, Pastiche is gonna fixate on and approach the mural.
Oh, I wonder why.
Okay. Because it's cool. That's why.
Mhm.
All right, Pastiche. As you wade through the water, taking care not to step on anything, like any kind of like sharp rocks or anything. Kind of half swim, half wade. This is definitely a mural. It's as you get closer, it is, and you look at it through your eyes, afforded with the light of Twig. This mural, it unfortunately is scrambled with chipped out sections, but it is plain to see that it opens from the middle, and then there are small indentations about the size of your currency coins on each side, and also one in the middle. All three from which water pours out, and as it appears that it's slowly filling the room. But give me a roll me something. Roll me roll me whatever you think is your artist skill. Either Arcana or Investigation, or
Athletics.
extreme painting.
Animal handling.
Okay. Arcana is now paint.
Cool.
Is now the painting skill. So, Pastiche, as you look at this, you can see what might be missable to those of the untrained eye. Your eye is extremely trained, and you can see sort of this mural as a canvas, and you're putting in places what kind of what isn't there. You're like connecting lines in your head and filling in dots and splashes of color where it can, where it is, and you can see sort of like the beginnings of a face, and using the indentations as a guideline. Two of the indentations appear to be where eyes would be, and one of them appears to be where a mouth would be. And as you draw the rest of this in your head, you do notice that there is a small inscription. But who cares about words? Words suck. You can see like there's another part of it too, but it's a little too too weathered and eroded for even your artistic mind to put back together.
Okay.
I think. Sorry, if you're about to do something.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think Makayla would kind of. She'd look at the statues, but ultimately wouldn't pay them much mind. Like, she'd note them, but she doesn't have much of a reaction because I don't think. Like, I think the King Wensler would be more of like a. Not necessarily a footnote, that's a little too light, but like. That's not like necessarily the focus of like what she knows about history. More so like the after effects of him gone. So she would kind of step past that. Sort of follow Pastiche, sort of as he went up to the altar, and I guess, or to the mosaic, and look at it as well.
Okay, and I'm passing you a note.
There.
Human answers Zoaz's question. I believe it is, although I don't know much about this Whistlis guy other than folklore tales. And as he says that, he hears Xalia hissing, turns around and says, "Xalia, are you okay?"
He's not really overly upset. It's more like the kind of low, like, threat if this keeps kind of hiss. This keeps up, there's gonna be a problem kind of hiss, you know? She kind of looks at Chuman, blinks a little bit, kind of shrugs. Doesn't really have a good way to communicate. She has history.
Hmm. I see. It seems whatever's in here is definitely does not sit well with you. We should probably not spend too long here.
She snap her fingers and minor illusion. I forget his name, final boss from last time.
That'll be Galway.
Galway, yeah. And just put him right next to her. And then she'll dock him in the head with a magic missile and he'll fall over. Illusory. Magic missile.
So as sort of bewildered, just like what? You and then he'll just sort of like he'll just sort of turn around and make sure nothing's going on with Makayla and Pastiche.
If I remember correctly, I think you killed him with a chill touch. Actually.
Yeah. But magic missile's more speed nowadays.
Fair enough. Makayla sort of walk up again in that very kind of like her face would be very kind of vacant and blank. Approach the mosaic, and wherever like sort of the faded kind of runes are, like whatever condition they're in, Makayla would kind of like hold the hand she's holding her match with up to it, and as if sort of like, you know, like line reading, when you read something and you have like hold like a finger to point at the words, just sort of go along the line of the runes and say, the hooded man at the rudder's sight is priceless. And then kind of like shake her head and snap out of it.
And Pastiche, she's making stuff up. That doesn't say that. Would you bend down and, well, not bend down, you move forward and look at that. The faded inscription that you see is, it reads in common, so easy enough, and then with your discerning eye, it reads, a wordless pact with the ferryman.
A wordless pact with the what?
The
Sorry?
ferryman.
Okay.
Is that what I just said? Is that what it says for you?
Not at all. It says a wordless pact with the ferryman.
Makayla kind of just grimaces. A third time. Why? And then she notices the these are like vases right in the corner.
Yeah, like little urns and stuff.
Urns, yeah.
They're intact.
Sighs and looks back to see if Mouse is here. Then like moves over to them and just like swings her staff to break them.
Okay. Sure. No, I'm not gonna make you roll like an attack or anything. Sure. You take a breath and swing your staff. Crash! Just a smattering of water and like plant matter goes wild. Bits of gold clatter against the wall, and also accompanying it is a dual hiss. And I need you to roll initiative because you found the snake.
Okay. Well, I can't just exactly pick it up and turn it upside down. My hands are full. Gotta smash it.
Yeah.
Snake.
The snake kind of like writhes on the ground, hisses, and then it also hisses. There are two things hissing at you as it lunges towards you, and as it coils and then lunges towards you. So go ahead.
By the way, can I get that inspiration?
Oh, I
I
mean, you
just
can just
noticed it wasn't added.
Yeah.
You can just add it, yeah.
Alright, you have it.
Oh, do I move before it?
You do. Xalia does. Xalia, this hissing is coming from a pot, and you can see that there's a two-headed snake. What would you like to do?
It's back louder.
Alright, make an intimidation check. Okay, we'll see. Pastiche. Two snakes. It is absolutely, a wounded snake. So you get the sense that it's the one from earlier, and it's coiling up. It's ready to lunge.
Pastiche is gonna lunge first and try to grab it.
Okay. Make an athletics check.
Here goes nothing.
Let's see. We'll see how acrobatic the snake is. Nice. Oh no!
Wow.
A 1 and a 2.
I'd like to use my inspiration.
Okay, go for it.
There we go.
I like it.
I only know 2 numbers on the die.
Do you just want to like do 1D coin instead of the silly 20-sided die?
Yeah, what's even the point of the other 18 numbers on it?
Alright. Sure, you have the snake grappled.
Alright. Pastiche is gonna grab both of its necks, stare it in the eyes, and hiss at it.
Snake to snake communication.
Alright. Roll intimidation with advantage.
Cool.
Gonna be the most intimidated snake of all time.
Okay. Noted. Chuman. There is a commotion in the corner, Chuman. You look over and you hear the snake hissing, and then you hear another snake hissing, and then you hear Xalia hissing, and then Pastiche has in his hands 2 snakes? Question mark? Oh wait, no, it's a double-headed snake. What would you like to do?
A lot of hits going on in this room right now.
There's like 4 different hissing noises.
Chuman's just gonna walk over and that's it.
Alright. Makayla.
He's just gonna watch it happen.
Chuman, you move over and you get a better seat. You almost stumble on the altar that is underwater, but then looking at it, you just take a seat. Makayla, Pastiche has this violent-looking snake in his grasp. This
Full, if you will.
violent-looking asp in his grasp.
I think Makayla would cast one of her speak with animals.
Okay.
Yeah. And sort of say, God, what the hell do I tell?
I mean you no harm.
two-headed
You
snake?
shot me!
She'd say,
I mean,
she'd
you know
sort of
harm.
command. She'd command the snakes like, cease hostilities and will hurt you no further.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
We got a real good cop, bad cop situation going on.
Yeah, really.
Alright.
You mean double bad cop?
Whoa.
Alright. This dual-headed asp, it's wriggling in Pastiche's grip, trying to extricate itself, and then seeing that it cannot, hears all of the hissing directed at it. And then
Wait, do I make like a 5th person hissing? Just realized that.
Hears all the hissing directed at it, and then like it makes like a confused snake face, and then you seem to have calmed it down somehow. It is no longer visibly resisting, and it looks like it's not going to immediately bite Pastiche on the wrist. So there's good news.
Alright, cool.
You have convinced the snake to stand? Down.
Had to think of a synonym for stand down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and end combat. So you currently have a slithering duo in your midst, Pastiche, in your grasp. What would you guys like to do?
I mean,
Don't-
Pastiche is probably gonna let it go as soon as it stops resisting.
Okay.
Zoaz just looks around the room bewildered at the sudden cacophony of hissing.
Yeah. All right. You set it back down on the ground. It looks around.
Makayla would kind of, I guess, go down. She'd go down to like a knee and kind of crouch down to it and like continue speaking with it. Ask, apologies, well, for destroying your urn. Not an intention to hunt you down. We're searching for someone. Have you seen a feathered person around here? Oh, does it still have like the arrow sticking out of it? From
The arrow kind of grazed it, so it's bleeding a bit,
Okay.
but it doesn't. It's not like sticking out of it.
okay.
Let's see.
He just has his arms crossed.
Yeah, the snake's got its arms crossed too.
And its heads crossed.
Yeah. So your response is I'm not gonna do a snake voice.
Sure.
So you get hiss hiss, and you get the idea that yes, it has. They are. It has seen such a person as you describe, with someone feathery, but not a bird.
Makayla would kind of turn to the group a bit and ask, does anyone have a piece of cloth or a bandage? Upon getting no response, I guess you... Sorry.
Twig will just shrug and say, sure, and just rip a small piece off of his cloak.
Sure.
And he'll slowly wade over.
She'd sort of say to the snake, one moment, and take the cloth, and then kind of like try and wrap its, like the arrow wound.
Okay. I need an animal handling check from you.
Show of good faith. Oof.
Okay. As you, you feel a tenseness in this double-headed snake. It is wounded and cornered. And as you bring this shroud close to it, it is going to attempt to bite you.
Okay.
17.
Guess it hits. I mean, that hits. So do I need to make a saving throw?
Yeah, I need a Constitution saving throw from you.
Thank God. Okay.
Easy enough. So the bite, the snake, one of the snake heads lunges towards you, and as you move your hand closer, and you can hear it hissing like no, and you actually only take 2 less damage.
Oh, okay. 2. Wait, how does it? Oh, +4. Okay.
And
I don't think Makayla would still. She'd respond. She'd say "Be calm. I mean you no harm. In fact, the opposite." And kind of keep moving despite getting bit, to try and bandage the snake.
Okay.
The body of it, I guess. Whatever got hit. Gently kind of wrap around, despite getting bit.
The snake still biting you and trying to inject venom into your veins. There's a bit of a burning sensation, but you push past it and manage to bandage the snake. The snake doesn't quite understand what's going on, but after a moment, realizing that you are not attacking it any longer, releases your forearm from its mouth. And now both heads are darting around, trying to look for an escape route.
Maybe we should just give it some space.
Yeah. You may leave, but I would recommend not attacking us again. Makayla would kind of move out of the way and give it space to just scurry off, I guess.
Okay. And scurry off it does. Lightning quick. It kind of coils and then lunges into the water. Briefly airborne for a moment, just boing like a spring. And it dives into the water, and you can see the ripples as it maneuvers out of view. And
Alright. Makayla hits the next urn.
So there's another snake and no.
There's 2 snakes in there.
Alright. Crash, muck, more gold pieces going everywhere. some rocks, bits of jewelry. Like you find some jade gemstones in here, and some like a loosely beaded necklace. So from the total, you have acquired 2 urns is 11 gold in total, and some like small jade gemstones. They're very small, maybe like pebble size, and just like a little bead necklace.
I guess I'd pick those up.
Okay, go ahead. You can add it to your inventory. And we return to the room with 11 gold richer.
And a few other things.
As a brief reminder, there's these 2 giant statues that have a sword out and a hand out. There's an underwater altar and a mural with indentations and such.
Chuman wades over to Makayla and Pastiche. I assume you all had fun with that snake?
Indeed.
Well, Makayla kind of like shakes her arm where she got like getting bit. Fun is an interpretation, I suppose. I figured since I overlooked the urns in the last room and they contained the key to a mosaic puzzle, for the sake of not making the same mistake twice, I would make sure to check these ones.
Right. Well, have you found anything of interest with this mural?
Question: do I see the indents on the mural? Because I should have.
How did
Because there were like coin-shaped indents, right?
Once you're there's coin-shaped indents. When you did your line reading and you ended up kind of like moving your finger over the inscription, it faded away and crumbled into dust, and then now you too see just scrambled mosaic, faded colors, chipped out sections, and the faded words that read a wordless pact with the ferryman.
Yeah, I mean, I will. I think, from what I saw, that these go here, and she'd put like gold, like 2 gold pieces, where she saw like effectively the gold coin, like the 2 gold coins of like the eye socket of what she saw.
Okay.
She put the. I mean, she'll put coins in the indentations. Is what I'm saying.
All right. So you
Like of the coins you just got specifically.
Yeah. So taking 2 gold. So reduce your 2 gold. Your inventory by 2 gold anyway. When you put the 2 coins in the 2 eyes, you plug up these spouts because they're pouring water. They top 2 no longer gush out this water forever, and for a moment there's nothing, but then you hear a roar of rushing water coming from the other side of the mural, and in your everybody in the room hears a whisper, kind of like scratch at your, kind of like scratch at the inside of your head, and the whisper is, "The ferryman always gets his due." And Pastiche only, because you cannot be surprised. You see this door beginning to open. What would you like to do as water begins gushing out?
Can you say what we heard again? It kind of clipped out.
The ferryman always gets his due.
Okay.
Quick reaction.
I think Pastiche is going to grab Makayla and kind of leap to the side this way.
Okay. Alright, so...
I allow myself to get dragged.
Sure. So everybody in the room, except for... No, everybody's in the room. Yeah, so everybody in the room. I need a strength saving throw. Makayla and Pastiche can do so with advantage.
Oh boy.
Zoaz is using his climbing skills to enhance the saving throw.
Alright.
The strongest bird.
The strongest bird.
Thank you for choosing to save me, I suppose. That would have been a 1. Would have died.
Alright, so as this door opens and this torrent of gushing water plows through, instantly filling the room with this massive force, it crashes down part of the wall where Pastiche and Makayla are, and the force is a little less, but it's still torrenting. It sends you all through a tumble as you are all shoved underwater, and this water fills this room, and the torrent gushes you out to the north, and tumbling, tossing underwater, fighting to keep your breath, and also trying to make sure you are all in one piece.
Question.
Yes.
Xalia shapeshifted out of swimmy? And I think she has. She definitely has.
Yeah.
So she's not swimmy. Okay.
Everyone suffers 2d4 cold damage and 2d4 bludgeoning damage.
Ow.
Alright, so...
So bad.
5 cold and 3 bludgeoning.
Wait, everybody? Including...
Pastiche and Makayla take half.
Rude.
I'm at 1.
And Twig, right?
Oh, and Twig, yes. Twig also saved.
Dang, an 18 wasn't enough, but a 19 was. Bad luck.
Wait, where is everybody's?
Bodied.
So it's got an 8.
Hold on.
18.
Yeah, I'm at the top.
Oh, it was from Mitch.
I was about to say, Mitch
I
will
was
get
like, there's
messed
too
up out
many
of it.
here. I was like, what's going on? Alright. Sorry, let me redo that. So everybody, like, heal yourself that amount that you just took. Let's do
Okay.
actual accounting here. Zoaz, Twig, and Pastiche, you can take half. Everybody else takes full.
Oh. Well, that's not what I expected would happen.
And you all are shoved out, including... Oh, I'm sorry, Mitch.
I was saying,
Yeah,
I think
rip.
it's the end of Mitch.
It is the end of Mitch. Let's see here. So everybody... Sploosh! You all are rolled through the water. And you wham up against these dividers in the other room. Maybe like one of the Piscine masks falls on top of, or falls next to you. But the water is still there, and it is still going, and it is rapidly flooding this area.
Nice.
So as sputtering, will shout, "What did you do?"
Xalia is lying on the ground, just groaning.
Makayla with like sputtering water, coughing. I made a mistake. Wow. And then we have to. So like it's to the southern sort of area that's now sort of inaccessible because it's just filling up with water.
The southern area is now inaccessible. It is gushing torrents of water, and that room is already flooded. It is very rapidly threatening to flood this room too, as the water continues to pour.
How high up is this? Is this like that door getting flooded up
so
now?
you look over there, and the stone slab is gone. It has been pushed to the side, perhaps. It's now kind of like half in, half out of the rising water, and there is an entryway into some sort of corridor. Mouse and Toka are not there. Are not visible.
They have already gone.
Zoaz is going to notice Xalia sort of like groaning, not really all there, and is going to sort of grab her by the arm, and as gracefully as he can, which is not very, considering there's a ton of water smashing into him, going to start pulling her towards that entrance and say, "We have to move."
He is uncomfortably light, not resisting.
Oh. Well, we can worry about that once we get safe.
Like
Human's
she's
gonna
not unconscious. Like she's walking, but she's not got much strength in her.
Chuman's gonna start swimming over to the door.
Yeah.
Likewise,
Same.
with Twig.
Alright. As you swim through this rising water and maneuver yourselves over out of danger, you see some stone stairs. The slab is knocked away. The stairs ascend what seems to be a corridor, and will move you over to the other place. As you stomp your soggy shoes and boots on these stairs, Mouse and Toka come into view. They are framed by what you call it? They are lit. They are illuminated by many sconces. You can see Mouse, who is now the only dry person in this entire expedition, having been carried by Toka. She sees these sopping wet adventurers, and she waves excitedly over. "Oh, hey, you guys gotta see this! The torches are already burning and everything." You can see she's visibly excited.
They're not going to be burning for long if we don't make haste. Toka, can you close the path?
I can.
The other room is quite rapidly flooding, my friend.
Toka looks at you, then Mouse kind of pipes up. "What did you do?"
I don't know!
And
Chuman speaks up. One has forgotten the rules of hunting in dungeons.
Toka grunts, his muscles flexing. He moves the stone stab, grunting across the stone stairs. It's a little slippery. He slips once, but he quickly catches himself and pulls the slab and makes it flush with the entryway. And you can hear the roaring water on the other side. But it appears that perhaps this slab will block it.
I mean, Makayla would use mold earth if she can to try and like, I guess sort of like weld like the edges
Okay.
between the slab and the wall, kind of like cover them.
Cool.
Reinforce it.
That's probably
Yeah,
a good
reinforce it.
idea.
Like get rid of any cracks between.
Okay. As the water level rises, and you can see water kind of like spouting through and draining in. Makayla, you quickly mold the earth a bit and extend it and sort of plug up the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with just a little bit of a puddle where the slab is and Toka is standing, he also breathing hard of having to leap to action.
I made a mistake and activated something I shouldn't have. As Kayla will say that, she was not even like looking at Toka. She says that she'd go around, agitating everybody to be dry and slightly warm. I guess sort of starting like Xalia. Or is Xalia actually standing, or is she still in Zoaz's arms?
Xalia just kind of stumbled to a corner and fell on the ground.
Yeah, she'd start with Xalia and then go through everyone else and then end on herself. Just sort of one by one, drying each other off with magic. I apologize.
It is alright. We are fine for now.
And besides, if you hadn't done it, I would have.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Chuman just sighs after hearing Pastiche say that.
I suppose it was too much to ask for two magic vulture idols with what our hearts desire, I suppose.
Zoaz is going to, after he catches his breath, stumble over to Xalia and check and see if she is doing alright with a medicine check, if that is alright.
Sure. A stout.
She is at 1 HP and already got knocked out once today. She's not exactly doing very well.
Okay.
Xalia's not a happy camper. Today has certainly taken a toll on Xalia.
Zoaz sort of shakes his head and grumbles because he really was not prepared to do this much healing today. And he's going to beseech Selene to give Xalia the strength to keep going.
Okay. What is
How much is that per turn?
So that would be
It's equal
That would
to
be
your spellcasting
6.
modifier.
Oh, jeez.
It's not gonna last forever, but
Wait, you have +6?
Yeah, I was about to say it's equal to your spellcasting modifier.
spellcasting modifier. Oh,
It-
yeah,
Yeah.
wisdom.
Yeah, which
So
should
it'd
be
be-
a plus.
Oh,
3.
not plus proficiency.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, then yeah, +3. Sorry.
Oh, 3. Okay.
I was say, dang, he's decked.
If only it was +6.
Xalia is gonna kind of slowly stare blankly at you and then look around for a little bit. And then... Where?
We are away. We went past the room with stone slab, and well, seemed Mouse had something to show us.
She'll nod slowly and then just kind of reach out and try to use his shoulder to stand up.
Meanwhile, Chuman looks over the mouse. Where are we?
Mouse smiles and she addresses each of you. This, from what I guess, it's some kind of crypt or tomb. There's a couple sarcophagi. There's one here across. She points behind Zoaz, and there's another one over there. And at the end is a some sort of picture. It looks like a mural, and it's got a message on it. It's all there, unlike the other ones. I think it's interesting, and I hope you do too. It certainly is. Well, there's a lot of words for it. Ominous is one of them, and cool is another. Legendary is another. We found something really, really interesting, you all. I think some of those legends about God King Wenceslas might be true. And when she says that, there's like a little bit of worry behind her eyes.
Yes, I believe we found some statues of him before we were unceremoniously washed out of the room.
Makayla's just looking down, like her eyes are just on the floor. Just.
Makayla, try not to beat yourself up over it. You could not have known.
She kind of hollowly nods. Her face is mostly starched, like looking necessarily like sad. It's just very stern faced and just kind of frustrated, I guess. It's the best way to describe it. I simply should have known better. While she's looking down, is her flame still lit?
Yeah.
Her torch.
Like an exclamation point appears above your head, and you bring out the little match that you that you have, and it indeed, as soaked and drenched to the bone as you are and your companions are, it still provides a nice little flame. The pale silver kind of illuminates your face for a moment.
Still a flame. For the record, I think she'd always be holding this, the torch. Yeah, if she's like ever trying to hold something else, she'd like put her staff under her arm and kind of like hold it there below, and use her other hand. That's how she'd like actually use anything. Because I don't know, it does, like in my mind it doesn't make sense. You can't just like put a torch, like a lit torch, in a pocket.
It is a match.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry, a lit match. So she's just sort of like constantly holding on to it with like between her fingers.
Okay. Tolka, who is still at the entryway, he had his he stands up straight. Looks like he had his ear pressed to the stone slab. He pipes up. I do not hear the roar of water any longer, but who knows how high the water level is now.
For all we know, the whole room could be filled.
If we do not find another way, we will have to be careful upon our exit.
Makayla nods. So all that water had to come from somewhere, and that somewhere should now be significantly less water filled, so who knows? There might be some... Either way, this is not a problem that we can really afford to think about right now.
Mouse,
Yeah?
you said the torches were already lit?
Yeah, when we got here, they're already aflame. Look, and there's some in the other crypt as well. And she, like, in her excitement, she, like, limps forward and stumbles, and just kind of like steadies herself against the wall.
That would suggest that there is at least some way for air to flow down here, would it not?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
would.
Fire needs oxygen.
So, at the very least, there should be something to prevent us from suffocating.
She nods. Then nods more.
And then Zoaz will look behind him and notice the crypt.
Yeah. So, after collecting yourselves, you've ascended these stone stairs to a corridor. It is lined with door frames. The door frames are looks like they were once barred with gates. They've now been destroyed, and there's like rusted metal rods everywhere on the ground. And before you, Zoaz, is a tomb. It is a tomb, like a sarcophagus even. There's smashed ceramics everywhere. You can see that there's something placed on top of it, the tomb that is, and you can see that there are 3 sconces, one in each kind of main center of the wall that is illuminating the room. It's the soft orangish yellow illuminating this stone slab. You get closer and you can see that it appears to be a deck of cards, just kind of like splayed out over it.
Are these like playing cards, tarot cards, something I don't recognize?
Yeah, you pick one up, flip it over. It looks to be a set of playing cards.
Not one to grave rob or, take things away from the dead. Zoaz will place it back where it was.
Okay. Place it back down, face down. The card backs are interesting. They seem to depict various. Well, sorry, not various. It seemed to depict like a castle.
And then he's just gonna start, stepping around, examining maybe the broken ceramics, the like design on the coffin.
Yep. The
Zoaz will turn. I apologize. Does anyone have something Xalia could use to restore her strength?
It's a very small Xalia, shivering from perhaps the cold of being drenched to the bone.
Makayla would hand over, would sort of extend out Untitled Unfinished towards Xalia and say, "You should use this instead."
What is Untitled Unfinished?
Her staff.
Oh. She'll kind of nod and kind of lean on that pretty heavily.
Oh, I suppose that is one interpretation of what I meant. I apologize. I meant something such as a healing potion or some manner of spell that could help her recover.
Twig.
Go ahead.
Twig is digging through his backpack, and after a few seconds, he pulls out a slightly wet potion of healing.
Diluted.
Don't give me
And
ideas.
He hands it to Xalia.
She will nod and kind of slowly drink it one sip at a time.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Hey, it's pretty good.
You healed it all back.
Oh, yeah. back to 9 HP.
Cozy, cozy.
Delicious.
Pick rolls, baby.
Though while Makayla is now here, she'd look at the sarcophagus and this would be strange, right? Like there aren't normally sarcophagus like in Khorzaire because of the curse, right?
That's correct.
Curse of walking, yeah. So is it, I'm trying to remember the specifics. Is it damp? Like, is this like a damp sort of crypt? You know, is it like very sort of
Yeah.
moisture in the air?
It is damp. There's a lot of moisture, because of obvious reasons. There's water everywhere. It is definitely damp. It's humid in this area as the torches warm up this place. And indeed, this is a peculiar sight. Some of you perhaps might not have even seen one of these before and might not know its purpose, because in Khorzaire these don't exist because of the curse of wandering. What happens to the dead, as you all well know, is they either get up and start walking around, and then they're lost forever, or they have a certain kind of gently kind of resting spell cast on them, and then they're moved elsewhere. As far as where that elsewhere is, it's usually in the hands of the Merchant King or Queen. But Zoaz, as you check out this sarcophagus that you mentioned, it is an interesting design. This is roll me investigation, please, and then it appears to be this box, this rectangle, has sort of stone kind of worked as if to give the image of a castle's parapet, and along the bottom, on each side, is is just a row of grass carved into the stone.
I see. I assume Zoaz would never have seen a sarcophagus, but would know vaguely what they are.
Yeah.
Just, due to his studies in religion and such.
And of
You'd
course,
be aware.
the people that you interact with constantly, from guiding them, people
Yes.
from outside Khorzaire.
But still, this is a new thing for him, so he just kind of shakes his head and says, I don't believe... Could this be from before the time of walk? Before the curse? That... He's shaking his head.
It very well could be. Long before Cyril is what we know it is now.
Human starts making his way down the hallway and checking for traps.
Okay.
Is there an engraving or any kind of writing to signify who this would be?
Yeah. Zoaz, make another investigation check as Makayla is helping you look at the thing. This will constitute your advantage. Chuman, this is checking for traps. This is an investigation check, please.
I want to use my inspiration on that.
Okay.
There are no traps.
Hey.
How dare ye?
Alright. So Chuman, as your companions are enraptured by this rectangle of stone. You look further down and decide to see what lies ahead. And one hand on the worked stone guiding you along, you keep a careful eye. What am I talking about? Oh yeah. You keep a careful eye out for any sort of threads glistening in the torchlight, any kind of like you test your steps, making sure that there are no panels that would depress with your weight, and keeping an extra eye out for like any sort of like arcane sigils that might suddenly flash to life. And seemingly for the first time in this place, the coast is clear. Let's see. Zoaz and Makayla. There does appear to be an inscription. And this inscription it appears to be naming someone. It's a curious name, so you're not quite sure if it is a name at all. But then, of course, it goes on to detail just a little brief message about them, and it says, Salt, beloved friend of what's the word? Dice, cards, and other luck.
I see. Solt, S-O-L-T?
That's right.
Okay.
This whole time, Pastiche is just kind of standing near the entrance to this little sarcophagus room, just darting back and forth between Xalia and Mouse, and watching Chuman go down the hall. Just keeping a lookout.
Okay. If you're keeping a lookout, go ahead and give me a perception check.
What was that?
If you're keeping a lookout, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay.
Okay. As Toka mentioned, you also can no longer hear the rush of water on the other side of the stone slab. Just keeping in tune with Chuman's footsteps, the conversation in the room near you. Mouse's excited breathing as she kind of like clambers on after Chuman. Let's see here. Pastiche, you do get a sniff of water on the air, which is curious because the only airway is blocked.
Okay.
Makayla would turn to Xalia and I guess...
She's not leaning on the staff as hard, but she's still using it.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah. She looks tired.
I forget, is Twig from Khorzaire, or...
Ask him.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I think Twig has said in character.
I mean, it's possible, entirely like reasonable that people forget.
Yeah, sure enough. Makayla would sort of turn up a little bit from, look up from the sarcophagus and say, while I've only heard about these in stories and fiction. If I'm not mistaken, this is a rather common way of burying those of high importance or influence in other places of the world.
That wouldn't be the case in Luxnox, right?
No, Luxnox is just like any other place in Khorzaire, where
Okay.
they, because of the Curse of Wandering, such care is taken for those who need to pass on. So keeping them from wandering around, they are taken to the Merchant King. It's one of their duties to see that they do not shamble.
Mm-hmm. Twig will shake his head and say, I've never really seen, and just motion towards the sarcophagus, anything like this.
That is what I have heard, Makayla. But I've lived in Khorzaire my whole life. I've not seen anything like it either.
It's just... Would you describe like the surrounding room as sort of just plain? Like
Yeah.
there's not a lot of... Okay.
It's rather plain. There's urns and pots that have been smashed. Looks like somebody got to them before you. Makayla, renowned pot smasher. But other than that, there's three sconces. The rest is kind of plain. Looks you look through like the smashed ceramics, and there isn't much going on there.
Well, whoever this salt person was, they couldn't have been someone of too much import, or else they would have most likely given him a more lavish. From what I've read and understand, they tend to keep these sort of tombs as lavish and filled with different sorts of wealth and whatnot. But either way, I don't see much point in staying around it, and honestly, not convinced there isn't something still within that.
Yes, I would rather not learn if the curse works retroactively. And besides, disturbing the dead is not something I am comfortable with.
Human's gonna move towards the mural, inspecting the second sarcophagus room as he passes by.
Okay. So Chuman, you see a similar room to the one. There's more smashed pottery. It is lit by two sconces, one on either side, flanking it. As you near the mural, you can hear Mouse quietly popping off behind you. And she's egging you on. Look, isn't it so cool?
It is quite interesting.
So Chuman, as you get up close to the mural, you can see that there's this large, lit, kind of like cauldron of a brazier, providing enough light to view this mural, and it seems to depict from side to side a seated ruler, and them getting up and walking a couple stages of the mural. They're conversing with someone much smaller in stature. This person appears to be writing in a book using a very large, super overextended quill feather pen. And then the last scene is of this ruler's back as they march towards this epic landscape of grass and mountains and trees, and there's an inscription. It's surprisingly easy to read. It reads, "From the flames of rebirth, all Khorzians shall rise, not from darkest night, from gales freezing thy blood, from broken hearts' sorrow. Mark my footsteps. From sickness there shall be none who dies."
Quick question for you. When you mentioned the last panel that they were marching, is it like numerous figures marching, or
apologies, I did leave out that detail. Yeah, behind them is a like large kind of like little. They're not too detailed, but like there's many small figures behind this large ruler type figure.
While Chuman is in deep thought, it's going to mention to Mouse. It's interesting to say the least, but I don't believe it's the kind of interesting we would look forward to. If what I'm understanding is correct.
Oh, are you? You strike me as the type to explore ruins. In my opinion, you're a member of Future's Answer, except in name. What do you make of it?
Fortunately, I'm not one to read the pictures as clearly, but there seems to be obviously a ruler, maybe the one that we saw beforehand in the flooded rooms down south, and then he's leading an army. Although I do not know what this inscription is completely detailing here.
Yeah, it's definitely curious.
We should probably ask Zoaz, as he is a native. Probably get some better answers.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, everyone! Quit your lollygagging. Let's look at this.
Zoaz sort of pinches what I guess would constitute his brow as a lizard man, and sort of shuffles past and starts down the hallway.
Yeah. Kayla would continue, follow, I guess. Would offer. Yeah, actually, no. She would just keep going. Yeah, she would just follow. Never mind.
Mouse kind of like slowly moves out of the way and then points at the large mural that canvases this entire wall, lit by a little brazier cauldron kind of thing. It's enough light to clearly see it. What? What do you make of it? Seems to tell a story, and it lines up with some legends that I'm privy to as an answerer. But what do you think?
As that happens, Chuman mentions it could be related to the room that we found south before it was flooded.
Yes, I mean, could be. And with that in mind, so I was going to try to recall anything about Wenceslas, like the legends that he would remember.
Sure. This would be a religion check.
Cool. Dead on impact.
As you're thinking, Zoaz, a water drop from the ceiling grows in size, and then finally, gravity can hold it no longer. As you begin to stroke your chin and think about what this could mean, the water drop smack splats you right between the eyes and startles you for a moment. And for some reason, all of your thoughts are gone.
Zoaz is fuming.
Oh my god, you're such a goober. I love you.
If Zoaz was not chilled to the bone, you would see the steam rising off his head.
The water droplet instantly evaporates.
Yeah.
Well, you were
I have nothing.
prestidigitated into being slightly warm.
Fair enough. But yeah, Zoaz grumbles and shakes his head. No idea.
Makayla would have sort of closed her eyes and taken a breath before like opening them and looking at what the murals are.
That is your arm now.
What exactly was on the murals again?
Yeah.
It was like rebirth.
As you all can come and see this, the mural, the picture part, it depicts a ruler seated in a large, extremely high back throne. And then in the next few stages, they get up and walk a bit, and they meet some sort of like foppish looking individual. They're much smaller. The ruler is much taller than this person, and then they appear to be conversing with this study person. He's got like a book and this huge quill. He's appearing to be writing, and then the next stage is this ruler pictured from behind with an army of little nondescript people clamoring behind him as the landscape is grassy, trees, mountainous, and the words are, once again, from the flames of rebirth all Khorzians shall rise, not from darkest night, from gales freezing thy blood, from broken hearts sorrow. Mark my footsteps, from sickness there shall be none who dies. Mouse reads aloud.
Makayla is somewhat surprised, as this time it's the same as what she sees. I can assure you, well, this time there appears to be no hidden text or image. What I see is what I assume you all see this time.
Chuman looks slightly confused. Haven't they all been the same?
None of them have. Not a one. So why this one?
Zoaz furrows his brow.
Why only this one?
Forget that. Look at what it says. From sickness, there shall be none who dies. I mean, I ain't been sick yet, but this says that none of that will happen anymore. All Khorzians shall rise. We gonna rise up?
It sounds...
No sadness, no cold. This is a big promise.
One that sounds awfully similar to the Wandering Curse.
Zoaz nods and says, I was just about to mention people rise from the grave here all the time, if there were graves, I suppose, but this is unsettling to me. Seems to suggest that the curse was put in place by what I can only assume would be...
By some king.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Oh. Wonder where the flames of rebirth come from. The only god king around... Oh, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The only king that isn't a king of commerce is a really, really old one. Do you guys know the stories?
Twig shakes his head.
Afraid I do not.
I have heard them, but I suggest for the sake of everyone else, might as well tell them.
Sure. Well, I'll make it quick. I know we're kind of chasing somebody here, but I'll make it quick. It's basically from the knowledge that I've gleaned as being part of Future's Answer, there is this legendary figure back in ancient Khorzaire. He was known as Wensless. I don't know his last name, it's not in the documents, but he was something of a god emperor, and he ruled over this continent with some sort of magical might. And the way the legend goes is that one day he became frustrated, not sure for what, but that prompted a whole slew of things. He went and spoke with his advisors. He spoke with his squires and pages, and he mustered up an army and then left Khorzaire. Where is anybody's guess, but is everybody following? Did I leave anybody behind? She's checking all your faces.
Zoaz nods.
Xalia looks not facing.
And the legends say that that's why Cyril is the way it is, you know? With it all kind of gloomy and dark and evil. Something happened after his departure. It wasn't when. Something happened after his departure that caused it the way it was. It was during this great civil war. There's legends saying that that's where the whole idea of Emergent King came about. It's everyone didn't want to kill each other after being killed themselves. And she smiles and kind of tilts her head. This is my own theory. Nobody agrees with me, but I think if you'll humor a little, if you'll humor a girl, I ain't got no proof, but I think that whole catastrophe in Cyril, I think it happened because God King Wensless died somewhere. If it makes sense to me, maybe it doesn't make sense to anybody else, but if his power is no longer of this world, then maybe that triggered something in his kingdom, you know? Everyone makes fun of me and says that doesn't make sense, Mouse, but that's what I think. There's more theories out there. You can just ask anybody that's part of Future's Answer and has access to the deets, you know.
That might. His death is definitely related, but I do not believe it is the sole cause of this. She kind of gestures to the problems this continent is facing. To the, oh god, what is the name of the storm of just terribleness that's around Cyril? I know I asked this like last session.
We called it mourning.
The morning, yeah. The cause of the morning. She kind of holds the flame a little tighter. There is still too much we do not know. And we cannot be making assumptions off of contextless murals. And then from that, Makayla kind of like turns away and looks, sort of heads down to look at the sarcophagus.
Okay. Anybody else do anything?
Twig is slowly nodding along, and he says, "No one would set out to make the curse of wandering what it is, so it does make sense that maybe at some point things went awry. Maybe this king's death caused that."
Is just half paying attention to the conversation, still checking over his shoulder constantly.
Humans in deep thought, thinking about that last lying in a inscription.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take a charcoal rubbing of this so I can bring it back with me. It's certainly a fine. We can't very well just take it off the wall, but yeah, this would be good enough for me if you don't mind. I'll catch up.
Zoaz nods and then follows Makayla.
You can see Mouse unfurl this parchment and gets out like this big kind of cylinder of charcoal. She breaks it up a bit and she sets to work placing it on the mural. She's attaching some like fastenings.
Pastiche is gonna stick around and help her out with that.
Oh, thanks, Pastiche.
Of course.
Yep, so she, with Pastiche's help, it actually is very welcome. You can see her kind of like hobbling around. Walking is clearly painful for her still. And she manages to get this parchment over the mural, looks at you, nods. Thanks. I'll get to work then. And she sets about with this charcoal rubbing, going over the pictures and taking care to get the engravings on it as well. Pastiche, casting a wary glance over your shoulder every now and then. You do see Toka. He's still got the torch. He's leaned it against the wall by now, and he's just being cautious about the stone slab. You can see him kind of test it every now and again, making sure that it holds.
Okay.
Human's gonna start looking around the walls to see if there's any secret exit or anything like that.
Sure. Secret exit check is an investigation check. And then go ahead and Go ahead and roll at advantage because Makayla's in there with you.
Okay.
So as you guys...
Just rolled another one
yeah,
since
just
I
roll
already
another
rolled
one.
one.
And so as you guys head into this second sarcophagus area, there's more smashed pottery. There's another stone rectangle on it. It has a similar sort of motif around the bottom with parapet kind of kingdom carvings around with a row of grass. You notice that there are 2 sconces, and Chuman, with Makayla's help, as you look in here and you're looking around for secret passages and just kind of like tapping on the walls, with your specific focus, yeah, there actually is a secret passage. As you're moving around, checking around the sarcophagus and checking the walls, you notice a small sliver of a stream from the south of this. Curious, you check it out, and there is slightly, there's definitely a draft coming from this area, and you can smell water on the air, and touching it and pressing your weight on it, you fall through.
What?
And the rest of you see Chuman vanish.
No.
How big was the space? I thought it was like a small, like, crack within. Wait, sorry, so
It's certainly befuddling, Makayla, yes.
Yeah, Makayla would shout out, Chuman! Like, just like as you sort of disappeared and like move up to the wall. Chuman just sort of try and feel. She'd like place her hand on the wall, try and feel it out.
Okay.
Not actually like push through it or anything.
You place your hand on it, and there's no sensation of resistance. In fact, it's almost as if there's not a wall. You go and push your hand expecting to land on the wall, but you push past a little further, and it appears that there is some sort of illusion. And where you're standing, you can feel the draft of a corridor beyond.
She'd turn up and well, could Chuman have heard?
Yeah, Chuman, you
Makayla?
absolutely heard Makayla shout out for you.
Yeah. Chuman getting his bearings after realizing that there was nothing, no force actually on that supposed wall, quickly pulls out a hand crossbow, and as he hears Makayla, it says, "I'm quite alright. I believe I found another passageway, but do not know what this area is yet."
Okay. And Chuman, as you're talking and you look around, you do see it is certainly a grand room. It makes sense why someone would want to hide this. There, in the very middle, is a large, illuminated, shining, some sort of dais. It has a stone structure upon it, along with a crystal structure. You look around, and shining down upon it is a huge ray of light. And following the light up, it is being projected by a large stone statue depicting a knightly figure holding a sword. The knightly figure it appears to have wings, and you can see you can see another statue in here from your current position. It is also shining a ray of light. It appears to depict some sort of hooded figure in robes, They appear to have a rod or a wand in their hand. The wand is outstretched. It is also projecting a ray of light ahead, but it's not projecting on the crystal. And then you can see another beam of light to your left, but your current position, you can only see part of it. You can see that it's definitely a statue, but you can't see kind of like all of it. You can see that there are stairs leading up to a podium of it. They're on circular daises. And I also need a stealth check from you.
Easy.
Easy game.
Well, let's just hope whatever it's trying to look only sees the dark vision, so you're invisible.
Okay.
Burn that inspiration.
Yeah, I already did.
Well, see, it's the backup because technically they can't see me.
Yeah, so in the dark vision, sorry, like not in the dark vision, in the dark, you can see a figure maneuvering themselves about on the water. They kind of like drift in and out of the sun beam, and they seem to be muttering to themselves. They hear the voice echoing throughout the tomb of your name being called, and they look in that direction for a moment, and then not being able to see anything, they assume that everything is okay, and then they seem to be more hurried and pacing a bit more. You can hear them. How far are you? You're not very far. They're actually alarmingly close to you. You can hear them kind of like whisper to themselves in this same thing. You recognize that it is the lampad from before, or at least a lampad. It's a similar crystalline structure with shards flying away from their face. Unsettlingly attractive as far as the rest of their body goes. Look, it's for anybody. No giggles. And you can kind of hear them whisper to themselves about what their plans are. It's like, I must tell Moot. They are here. They did not heed my warning. But I do not wish to disturb her. Surely they're after the prophet. These wanderers, these evildoers, they seek to prevent. And you hear a sploosh, and it disappears from view as they kind of almost fall over into the water, and you see a splash, and you get the sense that you are once again alone in the room.
Was it the voice that was similar to to our first fight?
Yes.
Our first encounter?
Yes,
Okay.
you can, hearing it, you can confirm that it is the same voice. This whispered hushed tone, so I mean, it kind of all sounds the same, but yeah, it's similar.
Okay. He said that the illusion gives like no force, so I could just kind of like walk backwards out of this room.
Yes, you can.
Alright. Yeah, Chuman's he's gonna keep his eyes forward, but he slowly walks back into the previous room.
Okay, you can go. There's nothing barring your path.
Oh.
It's just you're on the other side now. And Chuman steps out of the wall, question mark? Exclamation point?
What was there?
It is a grand room. It has three quite large statues, and
Did you see a path forward, friend?
I did not get a chance to look. There was someone else in there. I believe it was the foe that we fought before.
Did they see you? Well, I guess that doesn't really matter ultimately.
No, but they heard our voices at least.
Well, I mean, they already would know that we're here. Well, maybe not here, but either way, there doesn't seem to be any other way out of this place. Only one direction.
Right. I can move forward and move through the shadows to make sure that there's no one else there.
I believe it would be prudent to take a rest while our friend Mouse is doing the charcoal rubbing, was it?
She calls over her shoulder, "Don't worry about me. If you gotta go, you gotta go." So it appears that Mouse is giving you permission to head on if you deem urgency a necessity. But Mouse is just a mousy woman. She's not going to force you.
Looking, kind of looks Xalia and looks at Zoaz and says, like, perhaps you were right. Perhaps we should take a moment, steel ourselves.
It's a small, well-lit area, relatively warm. I guess relatively dry.
As long as that stone slab holds.
Toka,
Aye.
do you believe that the slab will hold?
Zoaz, you call out, and for a moment there's no response. But Twig, you see Toka kind of like he's looking over his shoulder in the direction that Zoaz is calling from, and he sees you. And he looks at the slab. He cracks his neck. Just gives it like a little tap on the with his back knuckles. And you see him kind of like lower his hips, and he gives it just a good punch, but not. He's obviously not using his full strength. He just. Everybody hears this.
Twig flinches.
And you don't hear Toka's voice, but you do hear his footsteps. And Twig, you can see him walk back, satisfied. He grabs the torch and kind of like dusts off his pile bunker gauntlets. He comes around and stands next to Twig. It seems that it will hold.
Zoaz sighs a little bit and says, "Then I believe we have all earned a rest."
Meanwhile, Pastiche is still backseating Mouse, holding up the upper corners of the apartment to keep it steady, pointing out spots she missed.
Alright. So we take a short rest.
Xalia is going to, like, as soon as you curl up, like, we start calming down, she's gonna basically immediately collapse.
Yeah, by now the heroism would have run out, for sure.
I think the temporary hit points stay until a long rest.
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, when the spell ends, it specifically says. Okay, cool.
I mean, if we want to retroactively, but no, it says so no. Short rest okay to hit the button for?
Yeah, if you guys are all hitting your short rest buttons, keeping yourselves in this kind of like drier area, warmer area. You guys kind of buckle down. Mouse and Pastiche working on this charcoal rubbing. Mouse is actually you can see Pastiche that continuing to work is painful for her. She puts on the bravest of airs. But Mouse is certainly grateful for their help. And over the course of, this is your first short rest today, over the course of 30 minutes, Mouse manages to get something pretty decent here. And she rolls it up, wraps a little cord around it, ties it. She gives you a nod. Pastiche. Thanks. That many hands make light work. Appreciate.
It's what I do best.
What is it exactly that you do best?
Art. All kinds of art.
Art, huh? You know, now that I think about it, I may have heard your name once or twice before, Pastiche. You're responsible for... Oh, I guess you're responsible for that piece in Emergent King Alma's university.
Ah, that's right. Some of my finest work.
Yeah, I frequent there a lot, and I guess she kind of grins at you. She's clearly stunned for a moment, like an oh wow kind of thing. Oh, it finally put a face to the name, I guess. And she kind of like bonks you on the snout with the rolled up parchment.
Pastiche like shakes his head a bit. He's taken a little bit aback. Is that a usual greeting for you?
She kind of looks down. Yeah. Then she stuffs the parchment away, kind of bashfully. And what are your rates? No, better question. What are you doing down here?
Well, it's a long story, but ultimately I am looking for someone.
Someone? Do they hang out underneath cities in mine shafts? Forgive me, Pastiche. It's none of my business.
It's no problem, really, but no, this particular outing isn't exactly related.
I see. This person's I guess obviously this person's important to you to take an artist away from his canvas. Their canvas.
Quite.
Can you tell me about him? Is it a clearly a friend? Is it do you owe them something, or you don't owe them money or anything, do you? Usually it's the other way around. They're looking for you.
Of course not. She is my mentor and my closest friend.
Oh. What do they look like? Maybe I've seen them.
She's quite large. Larger than me. A Leonin woman?
What's your name?
Vera. Perhaps you've heard of her.
She kind of like... if Mouse wasn't already stumbling, she takes a step back, and her limp kicks in on her bad leg, and she almost hits the floor, and she steadies herself against the mural. Vera mentored you? Well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I did hear that she just kind of up and left. You don't know anything about that then?
Nothing at all. And no one I've spoken to knows anything.
Well, well, Pastiche, my expert. I don't know why I'm already apologizing, but I'm sorry. My expertise is in ruins and such, but I haven't heard anything about where such a person would be. Just vanish. That's weird.
Of course, your interest is enough. I did not expect to make any headway down here.
Well, I guess you would, something that I always admired about Vera is, you know, of course, from afar, never got as close as you did, but, well, maybe you know this better than me, but I always found it fascinating at how she was fascinated with her own art and everyone else's art. Whenever, maybe, I'm just kind of talking from an answerer standpoint. There's always clues in the ruins about, you know, what happened long ago and what sort of knowledge can be gleaned. Ancient ruins, there's, ancient knowledge, there's always clues in ancient ruins. With an artist, I guess, there's clues. I don't know what I'm saying. Pastiche, I'm sorry. I was just trying to go off on a tangent. Maybe the words would come to me as I said it. I don't know.
It's quite all right. It is certainly something to keep in mind.
I certainly hope you find her someday.
As do I, my friend.
If you... I feel like I owe you guys something coming down here and golly, saving my life. Truth be told, if my talents can be helpful to you, then absolutely I extend them. I have a knack for getting where I need to be. She gives you a wink. Even if there's something blocking your path, locked door or something, call old Mouse. There's a reason why that's my nickname.
I will certainly try to stay in touch.
And she walks away. Alright. Pastiche, I didn't see, if you haven't already, you can also hit your short rest.
Oh, cool.
And naturally the wizards can take advantage of their arcane something, whatever, their book thing. Anybody else doing anything? Yeah, that one.
Alia's asleep.
Oh god.
Well, you get it at the end of your short rest, no matter what. Unless you are opting to not do it, which is fine. Anybody else doing anything during the short rest?
You can go first if you're doing something.
Chuman is kind of just staying on guard, listening for anything that might happen on the other side of the illusion wall. About it.
Give me a perception check.
Perception, oh.
Hey, nice!
Dang.
So you position yourself kind of at the edge of the illusory wall, and listening in, you can hear more whispers, but they're too far away for you to ascertain what they are saying. You can hear the grinding of stone, as if something is being moved across stone, of course. And you can also hear the sound of water hitting the ground. It's just like, it's not like this roaring. It's not this roaring, rushing water or anything, but you do hear it, and it starts up. Maybe about halfway into the rest.
I was gonna say, is it like a steady amount or is it dripping?
It's a steady amount.
Okay. What were you saying, Makayla?
Okay, yeah. Makayla would sort of like when we're, I guess, gonna start going, start when we finish our rest. Makayla would sort of nudge Xalia awake, gently gently shake her, I guess.
I'll wake up slowly,
Sure.
in the kind of way that is very clear. If you did not intervene, she would have stayed asleep.
Sure, yeah. Makayla would sort of would try and softly say, we're getting ready to go. But first, I would like to apologize to you, apologize to you, Xalia, for both the water and, well, for preaching caution when I myself showed none. She kind of puts her hand on the back of her head, or back, so scratches behind her ear, looking down.
Xalia is going to head tilt and then reach out a scaly finger, put it over Makayla's lips, and then shake her head.
Makayla will have a soft smile and say, just never lose your curiosity is ultimately what I wish to tell you. It will eventually serve you well.
Nod. Give a smile. Kind of rub the sleep out of her eyes and get up, get moving, pat Makayla on the back.
Alright, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Twig is just by a wall, sitting down and staring at the rose he got from the statue earlier.
Okay. You can see Toka cross your path and maneuver over to the mural. You can see him cross his arms and start reading it. He comes back. Kind of more to himself than anyone else. Shall be none who dies, eh? Still waiting on that sickness promise mural. Broken heart, sorrow, whatever.
Right character. Zoaz, the sight that you have, how long does that last?
An hour.
About an hour.
Oh, okay.
I guess it would be kind of
Yeah, it's on the tail end of it.
Okay.
kind of run now.
I can renew it if we need to.
Wow.
Oh, I thought that was like a once per day thing.
I can spend a spell slot to renew it. Any level.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Yes, very, very, very helpful.
Okay.
And also kind of strong.
Kinda.
All right. Anyone else doing anything during the short rest? Going once?
It's not.
Nothing for me.
Okey-doke. All right, then. Let's see here. You all come up, dust yourselves off. Toka offers his arm to Mouse, begrudgingly. You can see he's annoyed by something, whether it be his display of reading the mural earlier or being Mouse's carriage. Mouse hops up, and you all are prepared to go. Chuman, you know the way.
Chuman will turn around and say, "Allow me to head in first. It seems that there are people on the other side of this moving something heavy. I believe we might have a fight on our hands, if it is not friendly."
Well then, good that we rested.
Chuman nods, then he heads in on the other side, just see if the mysterious figure is back there.
Okay, I immediately need a stealth check. With advantage because you're in the dark. And also not causing a commotion and falling over now. Hey, shouts to advantage.
Yo, let's go.
Oh, it would have been the 14 anyway, never mind.
Yeah.
Alright, so Chuman, you step into this next room, and then everybody watching him, like, Chuman just vanishes. It looks like he melds into the wall until he is no longer there, just like clipping.
Full Dark Souls entry, let's go.
Into the dark rooms.
And then Chuman, you only had a brief look earlier, but you get the sense that the statues have been moved. The beams of light are slightly different than earlier. And as you take a couple more steps in, you ascertain where the sound of the water hitting the stone is coming from, and it's coming from the southeast. Moving over to the left so you can get an angle on it. It's past this statue shedding the beam of light, and you can see it appears to be some sort of reverent display of a water carrier, and from their water jug is a large, well, the water jug itself is very large, it being carried by a giant statue, is a waterfall of some sort that's pouring out from it, and it obscures the front of the statue, and you can see from that water jug, it is kind of weaving its way around the room and is pulling water in this room, creating like large, deep portions of water in areas that aren't covered by stone. And indeed, as you step in, you hear sploosh, and there returns the lampad from earlier out of the water. He's muttering to himself, "Go do it yourself, Nevitz," she says. "She does not heed my warnings. No one listens to Neves." No, that's it. What's the rest? What are you or the rest of the party doing?
I assume that Zoaz would not be able to hear the whispers.
No.
He's going to cautiously step through the illusion.
Okay, I need a...
Me. Go ahead.
No, you first, Chuman.
Yes.
Okay. Chuman is gonna get close to this statue
Okay.
and kind of remain hidden to see what actions he's doing.
Okay. Zoaz, I need a stealth check from you.
Yep.
Hey,
Very close
a
to
20.
Nice.
Let's see what Nevis rolls.
Wow!
I'm gonna use anti-inspiration on this.
Anti-inspiration? No, that's a spell.
Can I use vicious mockery on this perception skill?
So
Unfortunately
does this
not.
mean that this is sudden death?
No, it means that Zoaz sets a DC with his stealth skill, and then Neves meets it, which means he's able to perceive Zoaz. And that's exactly what happens. So, Zoaz, as you move through the illusion, trying to ascertain where Chuman is, you also see these bright, illuminated statues. And the whispering stops for like instantly, and you can see Zoaz, this crystalline being, the shards floating and spinning next to its head, kind of like slowly turn its head towards you. And then dip out of sight. Sploosh.
Damn it. Okay. Let's go with Zoaz froze, because the plan was that I was going to immediately cast Hold Person on him, but rip.
Fast one.
Well, roll initiative.
Okay.
Just you and him.
To see, like, who reacts first?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
What's your dexterity?
My
This is gonna be
dexterity.
down to the wire.
My dexterity is 13.
Okay, Nevis's dexterity is also 13.
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Well-
Roll me flip me a coin, 1d6.
Oh my god, sudden death, go!
Alright, heads, you win.
Oh!
So
Like-
you see Nevis about to do this burst of motion, and fearing an attack,
Zoaz shouts, Selene, hold my foe!
alright, let's see what happens here.
If he rolls a 14, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Alright, let's see here. The shards of crystals kind of like floating off in just this piece of his head kind of shine and dip and respond to your magic. Okay. And one of them breaks, just and realizing that you just did something to him, he sploosh. Oot will hear of this. And then dips out of sight.
Damn it.
You guys have a quick few moments, probably, before anything else happens.
Zoaz is going to shout, we need to get moving now.
Would that be just me and
Anybody can hear.
Zoaz? Okay.
Yeah, that's me speaking normally, so it would definitely carry through.
No, I meant in terms of like the couple moments.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fine. So you guys have a couple moments to kind of like do whatever you want, really. You can see Toka set Mouse down. He's like, "Stay here." Pats her on the shoulder. Bye bye. And he kind of like pounds his knuckle gauntlets together. Limbers up. Pushes past Makayla, or like pushes her
sorry,
forward,
yeah.
whichever's fine.
Yeah, Makayla would sort of enter as well.
Okay.
Would rush in.
Chuman gets his longbow ready and moves around the statue so that stays in the shadows.
Okay. Go ahead, Twig.
Twig is gonna pass off his lantern to a mage hand that holds it right above his head as he draws his short bow.
Nice. Okay. A few moments pass, and Nevis returns. Sploosh, and joined shortly after is another lampad. Sploosh. This one is slightly different in color and gait. This one more feminine than Nevis. She kind of glides through the water, whereas Nevis kind of stomps. And there's a bit of a swirl of the air around her, and the shards that hover to the side of her kind of dashed away head, they swirl in a circle instead of stay static. And Nevis points there. See, they are upon us. And with two lampads at the end of this sort of grand room, with beams of light cascading forward to shine on this large crystal that forms the centerpiece, and with the party of adventurers up at the north. That's where we'll end tonight's session.
All right.